Welcome to the Gaudium et Spes podcast, where every other week we bring you Catholic teachings and stories of faith from people throughout the Diocese of Pensacola-Tallahassee. Now, here are your hosts, Susanne McNinch and Chez Filippini.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Gaudium et Spes podcast. Chez and I are back in the studio today, and we've got the pleasure of having one of our dear coworkers with us here, Andrea Rosenbaum, who is the Director of Mission Advancement. But before we get into Andrea and her background and what she's here for, as always, if you haven't, please check out our last episode where Bishop Bill did a teaching series with Deacon Santi, and it was just amazing. So check that out. It was a wonderful episode, but we're real excited to be here today. Andrea, welcome.
Thanks. I will welcome the opportunity to come spend a little time with the two of you and talk about some of the great things happening in the diocese.
Yay.
Our new neighbor, not so new neighbor. We're in like month 3, 4.
Month 4 already. Wow. Yes, time does fly. And I watched your episode where you were talking about time flying. That is a real thing. The psychology of time passage is absolutely valid.
Okay.
So, not what we're here to talk about, but think about it. When you're 10, a year is a 10th of your lifetime.
Okay.
But when you're 50, a year is 1/50th of your lifetime. And you gotta So the whole concept of perspective changes as we age. That's it. That's what the psychologists tell me anyway.
Wow.
That's a freebie for anyone who tuned in here. Now you can
I think we need to change your name to Dr. Andrea Rosenbaum.
I think some of the real doctors in the building might not like it.
Yeah.
Derek, producer note, if you could, right before Andrea starts that, do the Wayne's World thing as it goes down, as we have our minds blown. That was awesome. We always start out, that's our new thing now. We're going to do psychologist tip of the day.
Yeah.
We always start out with the first line of Gaudium et Spes, which is, if you'll permit me, the joys, the hopes, the griefs, and anxieties of the men of this age, especially those who are poor or in any way afflicted. These are the joys, the hopes, the griefs, and anxieties of the followers of Christ. That's basically what's going on in life. You're a follower of Christ, Andrea? Highs, lows?
Bet.
What's going on?
So we were talking about this just right before. I had the opportunity for the third time in my adult life to be a sponsor for confirmation.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
And this was my niece who apparently had never heard the footprints. It was then that I carried you.
Oh,
well,
gosh.
I remember the first time that I saw it, I was a teenager. So I gave her a copy of the catechism, which she was very happy to receive. And I had found a prayer card with footprints on it. And she read it right there in front of me. And then I saw her kind of go, oh, wow. And I said, have you never read that? She said, no. And I had written in her catechism, I said, just remember, if God feels far away, you're the one who moved. He is always there for you.
Nice.
So that was a real high for me, was being
cool.
there for that moment with her, who, gosh, seemed like she was a baby just yesterday.
Yeah.
You've got that coming up as well.
Just to dovetail, we're recording this 3 days beforehand, but by the time you guys listen, it'll already happen. My oldest daughter, Lucia, is getting confirmed this weekend at the Cathedral of Sacred Heart at 6 p.m. It's a little shocking. Yeah, she's one of the last who will be in this diocese not confirmed in the restored order process. She's getting the old it is now old method of teenage confirmation. It's been a beautiful time, though. We my wife and I have been doing a novena, so we were explaining there's novenas for saints, for everything, but the original novena is the apostles in the upper room for 9 days asking for the Holy Spirit. I was like, we're gonna do that as a family, and been praying that together every night, asking for various gifts of the Holy Spirit. So it's been a really special time. We got family coming in town, and my wife's mother is going to be here. So full house, full hearts. Life is good.
I love it. You're getting into that stage in life as a parent where you can remember those moments in your own life, and now you're seeing them in your children's even more so. So here we go. I know, because I'm headed to Memphis this weekend to see my son, who's living up there now, and there's all those videos online about how, you're going to treat your kids how they treated you when you walk into their house, like you kick off your shoes and you dump things everywhere and all this other kind of stuff. But he actually was pretty He didn't do that, so
Yeah.
I guess I kind of got to be nice to him.
He was a good boy?
He was good. So it's just nice because he's in that next phase of his life in adulthood, and he's out of college, and he's, it's just fun. I love each step of our children and the milestones that they make, and it's just wonderful to be in that journey with them.
With two young adult daughters, I absolutely can understand that. I used to tell them when they were little, I'm not here to be your friend.
Right.
But if I do a good job now, one day we'll be friends. And we're kind of in that space now. Good. And it's amazing to have them call and say, can we talk about this? Or I need to share this with you. And really to be seeking that. And then to be able to still have them sometimes say, Mom, I just need someone to love me. And I said, I'm always here for that. Always.
Oh, terrific. Well, good.
The confirmation happened in Louisiana?
It did. Diocese of Houma-Thibodeau, Bishop Simon Peter, who is just lovely. And great little tidbit. He had asked the young people before, why are you here? Why do you want confirmation? And of course, as teenagers are apt to do, they all froze, except for one young woman. And he had her stand up at the Mass. He said, I just want to commend you because she said, because I want to go to heaven. Oh. And I thought, wow, be that kid's mom. Say, that's my girl, So I shared that with Bishop Walk, and he said, I might have to use that. I said, feel free.
That's cool.
Nice.
Well, Houma-Thibodeau. Tell us, Andrea. Where does it all begin for you in your faith life, and just a little bit about yourself?
I was sharing with Susanne before we got here that I really feel that so many of the paths I've traveled have left me right here to do this work. I really felt very quickly made the decision when this opportunity came available to come here, because I just said, it's one of the first times in my life that I felt very clearly, this is what I'm calling you to do. Go. So I always tell people I grew up in Houma. All my people are still there. I didn't even have a non-Catholic friend, I think, till about age 14. And she said, oh, we're Unitarian. And I said, what is that? It sounded like a country in Eastern Europe to me. So I really was steeped in that Catholic education, my family, all the way through my university. I'm a Loyola University, New Orleans grad. And I really feel now that I took a lot of that for granted. I didn't realize what a solid foundation that was, and how that really infused me. I think so many steps along the way where I could have been one of those people who kind of fell off, but I really never did. I was very, very lucky to find church communities as I grew up. I always wanted to sing, but those people who know me know that I do not have that gift. So I became a lector right after I got confirmed. Wow. And I think back, I have been a lector now for over 40 years. Yes. And that ministry, I think, has been one of the things that has kept me really connected. I'm ready to go to church. I got to read today. I got to read. And so that has been a big piece of it. My children both were at Sacred Heart Cathedral School, and I've been really active at the cathedral since I've been here in Pensacola. And when I think about it, that's where so much of my friend circle and my support, not having family in the area. Many of my friends in church family are really my family. And so it really has been a great thing. Now, again, people who know us know that my husband Todd is now working as the business manager for the cathedral. So I said, we are all in, as if all of our life now has dovetailed to where what we're doing literally every day now all aligns. And I think there's some ebb and flow, but some practices that I've always wanted for years. Gosh, I want to get in the habit of always reading the Sunday readings before I go to Mass. I had that goal for so many years, and I'm happy to say that about 2 or 3 years ago, I'm like, all right, I'm doing it. And I think, wow, isn't this great? Finding those little spaces in life to say, I'm going to carve this little time out and do this. I went through some health issues a few years back and found myself waiting in doctor's offices a lot. So I just started carrying my rosary with me. And I remember the first time a doctor walked in the office and said, "Whoa, what's going on?" I said, "It's okay. God doesn't mind. I'll pick it up when we're done."
Right.
But I figured if I'm going to have to sit here and wait, let me do something meaningful. And so sometimes I think we all are looking for that big thing. And to me, I think I'm trying to find those little places. Where can I write a note of encouragement to someone? Where can I listen? Where can I cry with somebody? I'm really good at that. So here I am now, and with a whole new mandate.
Yes.
Which is legacy giving. So many, I think when you say that, people might be like, "Well, I don't understand, what is that?" But I think when we talk about our legacy, when I ask, what do you want your legacy to be? It's that exercise that sometimes we get of, okay, you're standing at your own funeral. Write your eulogy. What do you want people to say about you? And, I think it's easy to not think about that. It's a little scary. It's a little overwhelming. It's for some of us, you think, oh, that's so far away. But what I'm here to do at the diocesan level is to invite people to really think about that on a practical level.
Right.
Let's make sure you've got your stuff in order, because maybe you have had a friend or a family member who has suddenly passed away and didn't have their stuff in order. So there are some practical pieces of that. And we think, why shouldn't the church be a partner in that? A trusted, faith-filled organization to say, let's invite you in to understanding what you really need to have and giving you some tools. But it's also that opportunity to say, what do I really care about? And what do I want to invest in beyond me? So, to be able to say, this parish, this school, this ministry has been such a big part of my life that I want to leave a lasting impact.
Yeah. Wow. So we've jumped into so many things so quickly. So can I take you a little step back here first? So one, I don't detect an accent any longer.
Oh my gosh.
Did you grow out of it, or
So
was it
funny.
intentional?
People tell me that, but if you talk to my family, they will tell you that the farther west we drive on I-10, the more it comes back, and I can get into it. I was a communications major in college, and originally thought, okay, am I going to do the broadcasting kind of piece? And I ended up in print journalism, but I think there was a real conscious effort to not sound like the little girl from down the bayou.
Right.
But I left Homa, basically, I went to school in New Orleans and then left. So lived in the D.C. area for 3.5 years, and then have been in Pensacola.
And we'll watch all the accents out of everybody.
I don't know. I have friends who have been away from their home base for decades, and it's still very evident.
Yeah.
But I think I was conscious about it for a while, and then maybe not conscious.
Yeah, absolutely. So what did you do in D.C., and then what brought you here to Pensacola?
I went to D.C. with aspirations of combining my interest in communications and writing with my interest in political science at the time. Okay. So just a frame of reference for people who are sort of in my age cohort, we're talking late 80s, early 90s, and the world was changing. The Soviet Union's breaking up, the wall is falling down, and it was very exciting. And I was very interested in all that. So I really thought I would be a foreign service officer or a foreign correspondent. That's really what I wanted to do. So I went up to George Washington to get a master's degree with the people who were in the field, and realized somewhere along the way that I really, really wanted to have a family.
Okay.
And did not know how to reconcile those things. Yeah. So at the time when the job opportunity to come back south, and Pensacola was always a place, this area, really from Gulf Shores to Panama City or so, where my family always, you do all those long weekends. And I thought, ooh, Pensacola, Florida, let's go. So I never thought that I would be here for good. But at a point, I just thought, this is really a wonderful place. Yeah. I feel very invested in this community. And for people who, so many people who've known me for so long, I worked for the YMCA for 25 years. In fact, I still, if I see someone, they say, I haven't seen you at the Y lately. I said, well, and people, I don't think they ever thought I would leave. I said, well, I always said I would never leave unless it was really something found me that I just couldn't say no to. Mm-hmm. And that's really what happened.
Yeah. So this is a new position that we've created here at the diocese. And I'm telling you, when you applied, it was like, oh my gosh, we hooked the big one. I mean, it was like a dream come true. Your background, your enthusiasm, your spirit, your Catholicism, everything. It was just like this beautiful package all into one. And, I mean, we're so fortunate to have you here.
It's very humbling. It's very overwhelming to have people say those things. And there were several people at the diocesan level that I knew. I mean, I knew Chez already. I knew several people here. And I had some conversations with some of them where early on after those conversations, I was like, what was that all about? And then you start realizing maybe this is happening. But John Kennedy with the foundation, who is now my leader, John and I had worked together multiple times where I had come onto capital campaigns and efforts as a volunteer. Yeah. And, I remember telling Father James Valenzuela, who was the rector at the cathedral for so many years, I told him, prior to the cathedral renovation, I said, hey, whenever it's time to do that fundraising campaign, I would like to help. And he just kind of looked at me like he didn't really understand what I was saying. I said, I know, nobody ever says that, right? I said, but I would. Yeah. So, so I think there was an understanding. I had some understanding of what was happening already at the diocesan level, the opportunities. I've always believed I've done fundraising for a lot of things, but I've always said I cannot fundraise for something that I don't really, really believe in. Right. It's got to be, I could never, there have been some opportunities along the way where somebody said, oh, you could go do this. I said, I just don't think that's my cause. Yeah. And so to fundraise, to do this fundraising, this development, this meaningful work for the church, I can't imagine a higher calling.
Yeah.
Just on the topic of legacy, like you worked at the Y, you weren't a lifeguard, right? Or maybe you were, I don't know. But
no, but I did teach fitness classes. Okay. I did teach spinning and boot camp and all kinds. So,
the set of gifts that Susanne mentioned, I think if you're in Pensacola, besides our parishes, which are by far the most attractive features of this town, besides that, I think the new Y downtown is just a cultural touchdown, a community touchstone that the whole community kind of sees as like a place to gather, and it's a legacy that you help a lot with. People
have only been in Pensacola maybe 10 years or less, or even 12, 15, do not realize what downtown used to be like. I mean, when I moved here, downtown was just a lot of, it was some stodgy old little offices and a few dusty little stores. And at 4:59 p.m., the close sign flipped and everybody left.
Right.
And, there were vacant buildings and nobody, why would you have a reason to go down there? And as downtown was starting to have this revival, with Maritime Park and some of these businesses, we're going to create Vinyl Hall. We're going to do these different pieces. Someone in commercial development, urban development said to me, downtown, we need a really good library and a really good YMCA. In addition to those offices and some of this nightlife and all. And so we really committed to building something that we could really be proud of and that would stand for a long time. And I mean, still sometimes I walk in there and think, I can't believe we did this.
Yeah.
And that was, it was fun though. And I think that's the part to me, what really raising resources to do something. It's not really about the money. It's about what do we want to do? Man, I want to create this experience. I want to do something that really matters. I mean, I'm not on the staff there anymore in that role, but every day there are 1,200, 1,300, 1,400 people who walk in that building, and I had something to do with that. I mean, that's an honor.
Yeah, for sure. So what attracted you the most to this particular position that you're in right now?
So for a couple of years now, I knew in my heart and in my brain from doing the research that legacy giving is really, really critical. We are amid the largest transfer of wealth that this country has ever seen. And there are people out there who I think are looking to do something real. Of course you want to provide for your family. Right. No one is saying, write all the kids out of the will. But what if you thought about the concept of the church as an extra child? I have 2 or 3 or 4 kids, and what if the church becomes another child in the family? And so to me, the opportunity to do this is long-range work. When you have a bake sale or a car wash, it's right there. I don't know if your kids have ever done the lemonade stand. I am a sucker for a lemonade stand. I keep a few dollars in my console just for that reason. I'm like, make the block. We're going back to the lemonade stand. And that's this immediate experience. And then you go from there to, you have an event, a golf tournament, a 5, and you kind of go up. But for someone to leave a legacy gift is the most meaningful. It is a lifetime of commitment to the organization. So to me, to invite people into that space, for someone to give me that opportunity is a privilege. It's an honor. And then to think, I'm at a point in my life too, where I can be, I think, more patient. Okay. I don't know that I would have been able to do this as a 30-year-old or a 40-year-old, but as a much older than that now, I can see that, the value of that, and I have accepted that some of the seeds I plant in the work I do, probably most of them, if I'm here for 10 years, 12 years, I won't see those. Those will happen after I'm out of the role or maybe even after I'm gone, but that's okay. Right. I'm okay with that. So that was kind of exciting to me, to be very focused on this very deep work. Right. Instead of having more transactional things, to really to get to know people at that level and to have someone trust you and then be able to say, yes, I want to make this kind of a gift. Yeah. It's exciting. Good.
It's a little bit new for most Catholics. I think we're used to the weekly offertory.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then we're in the midst of the Catholic Sharing Appeal, which is kicked off in our diocese. We're used to supporting the larger mission of the bishop, but this is a little, in your conversations with Catholics, especially Northwest Florida Catholics, how do you compare it? How do you, I think you alluded to it just now, but what type of, you mentioned think of the church as your child.
So I think too that we know that the majority of us don't have wills. We don't have plans. We haven't made all these things. Again, we're nervous about it. We keep putting it off. One of the things people think is, I don't have enough. A plan, a will, and that's for people who, but what we know from looking at other dioceses and even talking to some people in our area, that the average gift that someone might leave to the church is somewhere in that $40,000, $50,000, maybe to $70,000 range, because I can't write that check today, but I can will some of my assets, some retirement assets, or a piece of property, or some I can make you a beneficiary on something that I can do as that legacy gift and have a much deeper impact, a bigger impact. So I think most of us probably just haven't thought about it. So what we really want to do is start that conversation. And we're doing that in a lot of ways. I'm pushing myself into every event I can get to, and I want to go into the parishes and talk. And the work that we're doing is really for the parish. You mentioned the Catholic Sharing Appeal, and that's super important for diocesan level projects. But I'm talking about you impacting your parish or the school in your parish or even a ministry. Okay. And being able to say, this is what I really care about and what I want to support. And so, I think when we think about it that way, to say that this is a gift to yourself, it's a gift to something you believe in. It can be a generational tie. We really think, what has meant the most in your family? Yeah. And then how do we then say, this is something that I want to continue? I want to make sure that my parish my school, my ministry continues.
Yeah.
And, and so I've had a couple of conversations with people where I think it is new business. And one of the steps we're taking is really to educate people.
Right.
So I am doing a lot of learning right now about ways that we can be very practically helpful and then invite people into that gift. And so, we now have an online wills planner, an estate planner that's available at no cost. People think, oh, I don't want to have to go see a lawyer. You don't. Right. This can be very simple. But to really invite people to think about that. And so I think the bigger picture is preserving our history as a people. So I had this experience recently. I went to visit my family, and my mother said, I have a job for you. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, I need you to write your father's obituary. And I said, do you know something that I don't know? Now, my parents are 81, and I am so blessed to have them as a big active part of my life. My mom said, no, I'm just worried. I'm worried that I'm going to get it wrong. Okay. So can you do that? So my dad and I sat down in the living room of their house, and me with my pen and paper. And I said, all right, where do you want to start? He said, well, my earliest memory, I was probably 3, and I had a blue truck and a red truck. And we talked for almost 3 hours. And I took notes. I learned things about my dad, about my parents I didn't know. I learned why I'm where my name, why I have the name that I have, all these things. And at about the 3-hour mark, my mom walks into the living room and says, this is not what I had in mind. And I said, and he said, you're just jealous. So, but I think about that. When we talk about legacy, that's what we're talking about. We're talking about, I think, those things that we pass parent to child to grandchild. And so that is our family and our stories, but it's also our faith and our beliefs and what really matters. And in the end, I think that's what really matters. Yeah. And so I am really excited about shepherding some people through that process and giving them the opportunity to think about it. We know that there are probably people out there who have done this already, but they just haven't shared it. Well, now we're inviting you to share that. Right. And so we're creating. Can I just mention my big drum roll? All right, so my Lumen Christi Legacy Society, which I'm super excited at this logo that Derek here, our amazing communications team here has done, really creating a legacy society so that we want to invite people to think about this, to do this. Most of the time, if we don't have something like this, we find out about someone's most meaningful gift ever after they're gone. And so wouldn't it be wonderful if you've got people sitting in your pews who have made this gift, and now we can honor them and thank them and appreciate them. And their stories maybe can inspire others to think about this and to do something meaningful. And so Lumen Christi, from the light of Christ, that we are called to be the light of Christ to others. And this is a great way to do it. And so we really talked about what that image would look like. And it's kind of a combination of the sun rising and that light, along with an image of the monstrance and the real presence, and being able to say, we want to invite people into the space. So Lumen Christi chapters are my goal at all the parishes. Yeah. Okay. I've had a couple of pastors who have already said, I want to do this, and let's try to work it around. Maybe it's some building event that's happening. Maybe it's an anniversary. Maybe it's an important time in your parish's life that we can start a chapter and start inviting people to really think about the impact they can have on the faith.
There are some people out there that I think would probably like to remain anonymous. And
absolutely.
Can that happen?
Absolutely. Okay. Great question. We want to respect the intentions of someone who gives. There is a part of the credo when you're in fundraising is the donor always drives this. It's the donor's choice. It's the person who's giving. And so someone who says, I would like to remain anonymous, we would love to know your intention, just to say this is a member of the parish. But we would never share anything that someone doesn't feel comfortable with. Although I will credit Father Tom Collins out at Holy Spirit with, I was like, why didn't I think of that? He said, I really want to have a way to memorialize beyond me people who do this. So we're talking about some sort of permanent signage and maybe a book, almost like a legacy scrapbook where if you would like that we can have something about you and why you've made this gift and your family, and that so that the next generation can come and say, these are the people who have continued to invest, who built what we have here. Yeah. And so really, it's about honoring and recognizing, and regardless of the amount, we would never ever talk about an amount that someone leaves. And really, for some people, they may not even know. It may be this % of my estate, or what's left of my, IRA after I've taking care of myself and whatever. So, it's really the intention and that faith-filled gift that matters. And so we're I'm excited about having some people. I'm hoping, we love to share stories where people are willing to share. So whether it's someone who has gone through a particularly difficult time and the church was there for them, someone who's converted to Catholicism and has a great conversion story, multi-generations. I know at Sacred Heart, there are some third generation kids in there. I mean, what a great way to leave an impact.
It's part of the attractiveness of our diocese in so many ways. Like just coming to the cathedral, we came in 2016, and I know, Andrew, you've been there. You and Todd have been there.
I got there in 94, so I've been there for a while. But we had been there for a few years.
I mean, we walked into this place, we had Ave Maria Hall, which I know didn't exist.
I helped raise the money to build that.
Our kids have had so many amazing moments in that hall already in their life. I've had amazing moments with classes of marriage prep couples. And in some ways, the way that most people enter in their parish is kind of like it's a ready-made thing. The campaign's over. Thanks to those people, but here it is. And but we emphasize family catechesis, our parishes, our families. Families are made up of these generational stories.
Absolutely.
In which you get to know, I'm here because of this person, this person, this person, this person. And so I love this element, because you get to know pastors. And they're like, hey, we're in a rough spot financially, maybe here or there, but then an anonymous donor came through and left us this, and you're just like, that happens? They're like, yeah, that happens.
Absolutely happens.
And you're just like, I want to know that person. I want to, what? That's incredible. How would they? So
the stories of what can happen with that. My younger daughter lives outside of Atlanta, and in her church, they were going through a rough time. And so there was some financial issues, and then this great piece of property immediately adjacent to the church comes available. And boy, we would love to buy this. And it was just huge quandary. And then they received a legacy gift, and it was substantial. It was a 7-figure gift that they were able to take care of their current problems, purchase this piece of property, do all this. And they're actually planning a pilgrimage to now go and celebrate this person who left this gift. And so, to think that this is something that you can do that will have that impact, or somebody can say, I'm here standing on the shoulders of the people who were here before me. And then my goal, of course, then is that inspires someone. I'm going to do whatever it is. I do believe, and I think you brought up this whole concept of family catechesis. I think it's incumbent upon us as parents to create generosity in our children as well. And that can be in a lot of ways, with our time, with our talent, with our treasure. But I remember my children as when they first started getting an allowance, I would give them $1 a week, but I gave it to them in dimes. And I said, okay, these 5 dimes have to go into your piggy bank. These 4 dimes, you can do whatever you want with. This 1 dime, you have to give away. And sometimes they would drop it in the basket, and sometimes they'd save it up to have a little bit more to do with. And so I do think that part of this work is to help that next generation understand that we do what we can where we are with what we have. And so we are all part of that. That is part of church.
Right.
To do all the great things we want to do with the youth ministry camp out, or with a marriage encounter retreat, or with a new building where we can have all these great events, and all of that takes resources, and it comes from us. We need to, if it means this much to me, then what can I do to build this up, and to build it up not just for me, but that ultimate gift for those who come after.
Yeah, neat. So for all of our viewers and listeners out there that it's the first time they're hearing about this program, should we say coming soon to a parish near
there's
you,
a lot. So there are
do?
things. So you can visit the website, the diocesan website, and you will find under the development and stewardship, we've got our legacy giving website. So there's all kinds of information where you can learn. There are little quick videos. You can download some pieces that will help you think through these things. You can actually do a wills planner online that'll walk you through all these steps. If you're like, I'm not even sure where to start, there are links to come back to me and to Mr. Kennedy. Anything you do on there is going to come to me, and so I can do that. So that's available. We're also going to be in the next Catholic Compass, so there'll be a little more information in there, some opportunities to drive through. I'm going to be at the Jubilee Masses. If you're a Jubilee Mass, I'm going to be walking around, shaking hands and kissing babies. And so, we're going to continue to do this. If there's an interest anywhere that we can find an interest, and as I said, I've got a couple of parishes so far where there's a pastor or anyone in that parish who says, we need to do this. I just need one or two people. And we have an entire plan for how we can roll this out so we can create a Lumen Christi chapter. If you're just an individual who says, gosh, I've already left something to the church in my will, we would love to know about it.
Yeah.
And so contacting us here, contacting me through the legacy website or any of those pieces, would love to talk to you about it.
Wow.
There are so many ways that we can do some great work together.
I'm interested.
Yes.
Let's plan out the will today. Let's take that burden off my life and just be like, it's all. And the biggest, this is it's a diocesan office, but this is intended
absolutely
for your local parish.
This is the difference, is that I think a lot of times everybody says, this is going to, and again, we all work for the diocese.
Yep.
This is all, and the things we do really matter. But what we're really trying to do is to build up those individual parishes, to benefit them, and to create those chapters around that say this is what I want to do. This is what I really believe in. Todd and I said, we've done all this, but I said, it's time for us to go back and redo everything now. I am a big believer that when I'm asking people to be a part of something, that I'm going to do that as well.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about saying we can do this together. We can do this together.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Andrea, your honorary title from here on out. Thank you for being with us here today.
So much fun.
Goodness. I mean, you just bring exuberance. You're just a light. You're just a beacon of happiness around here. And I think the entire diocese is going to benefit from her being in this position for years to come.
Well, it is an honor. It is a privilege. I feel that I've been welcomed so much here. Good. And I'm looking forward to just building some great things together.
Quick rundown, ptdiocese.org/
stewardship.
ptdiocese.org/stewardship. Legacygifts.org.
The legacygifts.org, which I said, how in the world did we get that? But we were apparently one of the first dioceses that signed on with the group that we're working with. Okay. And so I have to give John Kennedy credit for saying, we want legacygifts.org. I'm like, I'll take it. So yes, great stuff.
Excellent. Go visit it, guys. Andrew, you've done just so much good work. Just on the website, why is it?
well,
thankful for you.
Fun.
It looks awesome.
Fun
Very
stuff.
easy to navigate. You'll find what you're looking for, folks.
Yeah,
And-
so hopefully, I just want to say coming soon to, an event near you, to a mass near you, to I'm there. Oh, quick plug too, for anybody who's listening. Dr. Gowell and Dr. Neal and I will be out at the Co-Cathedral on February 21st.
That's right.
Okay.
And then St. Anne's Gulf Breeze on April 18th, doing a long version of this,
Okay.
Finishing Life Faithfully. And so if you really want to get deep into all the pieces of advanced care directives and the rite of Christian burial and all kinds of things, so we'll be sharing that. So and that's going to become a regular piece that we do together as well. So lots of opportunities for people to start really doing this, thinking about this.
Thank you for plugging that. That's going to be, I just, lost my dad a little over a year ago, and like so many people go through this rush of what to do, that is a workshop specifically to address
really
the full
to
scope.
everything for end of life.
Exactly. We'll have that, guys, if you go to our main website, ptdiocese.org, and just wait for the banner to go. That'll be a registration form there. So, Andrea, as Susanne said, we're lucky to have you.
Yeah.
I think this is good.
It's such a fun time around here. We'll get you guest spots. I don't know.
Yes.
Wisdom weeks with
I'll take. Oh my gosh.
Dr. Andrea Rosenbaum. And thank you so much, guys, for being with us. We hope you enjoyed this one. We'll be back off location for our next episode. This is going to be a nerd episode, guys, so be prepared. We're going to be in one of Florida State University's finest libraries. Me and Dr. Luke Arredondo sitting down with one of their professors of religion for our Catholic social teaching series. So we'll see you over there.
Thank you for tuning in today to the Gaudium et Spes podcast. If you would like to know more about our podcast, please visit our website, gaudiumetspes.net, or go to ptdiocese.org and click the button that says podcast. If you listen to the audio version from an app such as Apple Podcast, Spotify, or iHeartRadio, be sure to rate, review, and comment. If you watched us on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe or leave us a comment there as well. Thank you for joining us.